Hey guys, welcome to another video. So today we are going to rank countries of World War I by performance. This is in honor of World War I, a very tragic event that happened, and yeah, I just want to start right now. We're just going to go by some obvious ones, and then we're going to go into the little more complex ones as we're going. This is going to be World War I month. So Germany, let's start with them. S by far. Like, they're probably the best country out of all of them by far. Maybe even better than US. Let me explain. So first off, they were able to fight against two fronts at the same time. Two. The Eastern and Western Front. They had to fight Russia, which they also beat the Russians. It was true about the whole, Soviet Union start, the whole Russian Revolution, but still, they were able to handle it really well. Just saying, they succeeded enormously and took a lot of land. And the Western Front, right? They were able to hold off for 4 years against the British and the French. And remember, the French and the British are not something weak. They are powerful. They owned all of Africa and huge amounts of the colonies all around. I'm just saying, they were very powerful. The Commonwealth alone was a third of the world or something. Just saying. They were very, very powerful and got their colonies everywhere to team up, right? So the fact that the Germans were able to hold out against them and the French is impressive enough. And then, the only setback was Belgium and the Schlieffen Plan. If they didn't mess that up, I think this would have been the perfect thing. They just handled it really well. They were still able to hold out for such a long time. Impressive for them. If they were as strong as the French and they were in that situation, they probably would have lost. I'm being honest, within maybe a year. So next off, let's go with Austria-Hungary. F by far. Austria-Hungary, maybe other than the Ottomans, were the worst. Just awful. They were the worst country to do this all. Their performance sucked. They were able to lose against Serbia, a country which was 7 times smaller than them. They lost against many of the Russians and even got beaten off by the Italians. I'm just saying they lost so many of these battles. They had to constantly get help from their ally Germany, and most of all, they sparked this war. They sparked it. They should have been able to know what to do. They should have led through, but they were unprepared when they started a war. How do you do that? How do you be unprepared when you intentionally try to start a war? I get it, they were just going for Serbia, but they knew Russia would get mad, and Russia would try and do something. Idiots. Just, oh my. Here's the reason why they sucked. How the military divisions were aligned. A lot of them had different cultural ideals and languages, and because of that, it kind of split everyone, because no one could understand what was going on. They were speaking different languages. They should have grouped divisions based off of language. Even 10 Italian-speaking soldiers would have been fine enough. Though they probably would have betrayed them for Italy. Whatever. Next off, let's go with Italy. Yeah, Italy, well, it's fine. We'll just go with them. I think Italy was a C. They weren't anything exceptional, enormous. They didn't do trash. They were fine. I think it's in the middle ground. I think they did perfectly fine. There's not much to say. Italy joined for what would help them the most. They got scanned out of it. But hey, they performed pretty well. Not well enough to get a B. I think, next off, let's go with the Ottomans. Ottomans also an F. They only won, one campaign. And that was defending their capital, which they barely won. These are the two sick men of Europe. They just sucked. They were backwards. They didn't know what to do anymore. They just couldn't lead. Austria-Hungary, at least in their defense, they had a vision they were trying to go for. They just sucked at making that vision. Next is Russia. Russia, I would give a B. Russia was able to fight off pretty well. They had to fight against the Germans, which I'll admit was probably a little tough to do already. But to be fair, the Germans were also having the Western Front, so I think they should have at least done a little bit better. Honestly, this, I would just rate a B. They were fine, just not really as great as it could have been. but they had a lot of good moments. They had a lot of good wins, and they were able to hold out for a while. Just losing the war, they were like the first one to break, other than maybe Serbia and Belgium, but still, just kind of sad. Let's go with the UK. The UK, it's kind of hard to place it because one, it's like, it was much stronger than Germany on a lot of other stuff, you know, like colonies, population, and the naval force, so they should have like been able to kind of get over the Germans. You know, one full-on naval invasion, they probably could have like maybe won or something. I get it, there's probably a lot of other factors to why they didn't do that, but just saying that would have been a lot better. So they're not S, I think like maybe an A. They were very good. They had all the resources. They just didn't do the best. You know, they didn't do the best. They pushed pretty well. They were able to hold out really well. I think they carried the French, honestly. I'd rate them this. And speaking of the French, where is the French? Again, they're being cowards. I guess they forgot to put the French. But if I did put the French, it would be a C or a B. I know that's being a little harsh, but France just, what can I say? They didn't do that big of a deal. It was mostly the UK, America, and many others in the Allies carrying them, you know? I didn't think they did that much. I mean, when they fought the Germans, they were, good job, you held a bit, but then you got the UK to carry you. You know, after Belgium neutrality, you know, was broken. Anyways, let's go with Belgium. Belgium's an A. They were able to hold out even though they were so weak. Like, they were a very tiny country, and they gained a little land after World War I. Just saying, like, it was impressive how hard they had to hold, you know? So I'll give them an A. I think they've done a very impressive job. Good for them. I can't really say too much. I would just rate them an A. That's it. Bulgaria is C. I mean, I can't say too much. I don't know too much of by performance. I guess they did fine, but not really as fine. Just mediocre. Just mid. They didn't really join in too much, but to be fair, they were not really the strongest. Romania's a D, and they kind of just lost immediately. But to be fair, they're not Austro-Hungary and Ottomans. At least Romania gets more of an excuse due to it being way smaller, you know? And Austro-Hungary had to get the Germans to help them when they tried to conquer Romania. Austro-Hungary sucks, honestly. Serbia. Serbia's probably high B or an A. Austria-Hungary really sucked, and they were very inefficient, so them holding out against them, I wouldn't say it's really very impressive. I would rate them probably a B. I think they did pretty good. They did way better than Austria-Hungary, but they did lose immediately as soon as the Germans came in, and Bulgaria, so there. Finally, we got the USA, which in my opinion, I think they came very late, like 1918. It's really hard to decide. I don't think it was a C. I think the US came really late, I think they did change the entire tide of the war though, so I think that was great. I'm gonna rate them an A. You know, let's put them with Germany. If they would have fought in 1914, definitely the America would lose, but 1918 against Germany, I think they would, they did change the tides of the war, and they did a lot, and some of the most pushing. So yeah, I would rate them an S. Just a really low S. They did probably a lot better than the others. So yeah, that's kind of the end. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye.